Alright, so we're going to be doing a little bit of a test and an unboxing of this LED security light by Defiant. This is a product sold at Home Depot. I'm not sure how much of this bullshit to believe. 25 times longer life, $147 in savings, 70 watt equivalent. Equivalent to a 70 watt incandescent light bulb. And the output is 1350 lumens. And it's supposed to save you, well, if I'm reading that correctly, that looks incorrect. $2.29 a year in energy cost. Yeah, it might be a typo on this, because it's $147 in savings, but $227 a year. Okay, so here's our lighting facts. Light output lumens, 1350. Watts on the LED itself is 19 watts. Lumens per watt efficiency, 71.5 lumens. Color accuracy is about 80. And we're right in the range of bright white and soft white. It's looks like a 44,000K light. Let's see. That's some lighting facts. I'm trying to see if I can see any more info here. Approved method, USDOT. Let's see here. Where do they make this thing? Made in China and distributed by the Home Depot. So Defiant is a Home Depot brand. Let's see, assembled dimensions. So I'm guessing you have to do some assembly. Theft protected. I'm not sure about that. There's a dusted on photocell. Prismatic polycarbonate lenses, so they're supposed to be shower resistant. LED bulbs integrated in the fixture. This is a black one. It's part number 1002076-262. Let's see here. See if they got any other stuff on this. I don't know what they're required by law to put on these things for energy savings, but $2.29 a year isn't really that great of an energy saving compared to a regular light. Let's see here. Fixture should be installed by a person with experience in household wiring or by a qualified electrician. The electrical system and the method of electricity connecting the fixture to it must be in accordance with applicable building codes when compared to PAR halogen light bulbs. Based on 10 years of service, when compared to halogen incandescent dusk to dawn fixtures operating for 3 hours per night. Okay, nothing operates for 3 hours per night. 3 hours per night is absolutely nothing. That's like the evening hours, but your typical night darkness is almost 10 hours. Probably a little underdone on that. Estimated energy cost based on fixture running for 3 hours per night at an average electricity cost of 11 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay. I don't know who charges 11 cents per kilowatt hour. I have Edison. They charge about 30 cents. And I know most DWPs charge about 40, 45, 50 cents per kilowatt hour. So, anyway, besides the BS on the packaging, which is totally false, as their way of just claiming, we're going to open this box up, let's see what we get. And I've got to do this one-handed because I'm holding the camera in the other. Alright, let's see here. We got a little package of connectors and screws. Okay, well, we're going to hang on to that box. If this thing's a piece of shit, believe me, I'm taking it back to the store. This light costs right now at Home Depot, it's a new product that they have listed, or they have it listed as new, $39.95 plus tax, or sales tax, depending where you're at. If you're in Oregon, well, then it's $39.95, because you don't pay sales tax. Alright, so here's our light. We've got the wires coming out the back. Let's see what we got going on here. So we got neutral, hot, and 1 ground. Okay. Too bad on the polycarbonate, little thin. Okay, so it's a light cob. I'll grab a screwdriver and open this thing up, and we'll see what the inside looks like. And And of course, to install, you actually are going to have to do this, because you obviously need to be able to screw the fixture into its housing or its mounting location. So let's open this up. This is going to take a sec, so let me pause the video here so I don't bore you. I've got to take out 2 screws on this side and 2 on the other. Alright, so I've taken the back housing off, or the back plate in this case. It's the 4 screws that were on the side to hold this thing in, and it's just a mounting plate. With a little rubber grommet here to put the wires through into the junction box, and you probably going to need to use the junction box because there's no space inside this thing to make any connections. And surprise, surprise, they've screwed the whole unit into the housing with a couple of these machine screws. There are about 6 of them all the way around, so I had to loosen those up so I'd be able to pull the unit out. And they've got a weather seal around the side of it. So I'm going to pull these out here real quick. They're all pretty well loose. They should be undone. Sometimes they put up a wee bit of a fight. Okay, that one's out. There's 2 more here. This is kind of fun looking at this through the camera. Alright, those 2 are not going to cooperate. Man, I need a tripod for this camera. I should just go get my damn GoPro. Samsung cameras. Actually, the cameras aren't too bad on these things, and they're getting better. Cell phone cameras are taking off. Okay, so our weather seal is going to give us a little bit of an issue. Doesn't want to come out in one piece. Looks like it's wrapped around here. Okay, I've got to pause the camera again. Okay, so here we go. I finally got this thing out. There's our polycarbonate lens. We're talking about a 1/8 inch thickness, so if you hit this thing with something, it will definitely shatter. It is not shatterproof. Polycarbonate is resistant, but this is a very thin polycarbonate. And it's textured so that they can disperse the light as much as possible. And right here we have a photo. That's our photo cell right there. Wired right into the transformer here. And this transformer, this might be a little more believable. Come on, focus, you fucking piece of shit. Come on, Samsung. There we go. Okay, so it's a LED power supply. Of course, we got Spanish there. There's a model. Let's see here. So the input is 120 volts AC at 60 hertz, which most everything is about 60 hertz. Alright, and it's showing here that the input amperage that's going to take normally is 0.16 amps at 20 watts max. So, and this is a 19 watt fixture. And the output is 48 volts DC at 350 milliamps. So actually that's not too bad. That's pretty low. I mean, it's about as much as a cell phone charger. Well, cell phone charger is a little lower. Okay, so what we got here is this is the inside LED board, and this is why they say it integrated, because it's a board that's basically bolted to the housing. Got a whole bunch of LED diodes here, and then it's coated to protect it from, I guess, moisture, corrosion, air, oxidation, and stuff like that. They've soldered the terminals to the board. Not too shabby, actually, on that solder job. Actually, kind of looks alright. See if I can zoom in on that. Focus. There we go. Yeah, a couple dabs of quick solder, but they didn't make a mess. A little burn on the board there. And then let's see here. See, these are just little chipsets. There we go. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to attach a plug and wire to this. I'm going to put this thing back together. Make sure that if you do take this thing apart, you need to make sure that absolutely this gasket is back in place, because this is crucial. So let me set this thing down here real quick. And where is it? Where is it? I'm scanning my floor, looking, because I grabbed a plug just for this. Here it is. Alright, so I've got an old computer plug. cut the end off it, old CPU plug, and we've got 3 wires on this one here. It's a hot, neutral, and a ground. In the electrical world, hot is referred to as the positive, neutral is referred to as the negative, and then of course ground, which is the same thing as neutral. In fact, both these wires wind up at the same place on your electrical panel. Neutral goes out to the pole, but they connect to the bus bar, which also connects the ground. So in a sense, it's kind of intergrounded, interbonded. We're going to connect this to the light. We're going to take it outside and compare it to a 50 watt metal halide fixture, and see how much brighter this thing is, or at least how close to it is, because I don't think this thing's going to be as bright, but we will see. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to get this thing hooked up. For the purpose of testing, we're not going to be using the ground because we already have a neutral. Yeah, we'll see. So I'll pause the video here. Alright, so we're almost back together. Interesting thing I did notice is that on these screws, these are just Phillips machine screws, probably 8/32, is they have a washer, so that helps reinforce when they hit to the board. They also, on the inside of each one of these, I'm trying to see if you can see it here. Focus. Damn it. Kind of. Let's see here. Brighten that up. Man, maybe that'll help. They got a little, like a nitrile or rubber washer going on here. And this is their attempt to help eliminate the any moisture getting into there. This thing is kind of a little pain in the butt to get this back in here and get that seal to sit in there right. But they did at least make the attempt. So not too shabby, especially surprisingly for a made in Chinese item. The case, the outer shell, is appears to be made out of die-cast aluminum. And of course powder coated or painted. I don't know, is it powder coated or is it painted? Might even be anodized. Let's see here. Take a little scratch here. Alright, that just looks like it's painted. Alright, so they just spray paint these things real quick. Yeah, too bad on the coating. I don't know how well that'll hold up to the weather, but then again, if they primered it right, it'll probably do just fine. So, we get the back plate back on, and we'll get the wires hooked up, and we'll go and test it. Alright, so here we are in the backyard. And this is the light. Let me try to zoom out here. So that's the light we're going to test it up against. Now, it's a little dimmer right now. I think the bulb is starting to go out. So, in all fairness, this may not be accurate, but that's still a pretty bright light. It generally illuminates most of the yard. You can see we got a shady spot there and shady spots around the truck and trailer. So we're going to plug this light in. We're going to see what it looks like. I'm probably just going to stand it up right there on that box. So I got somewhere to hold it to. Alright, so I plugged in the LED light. Yeah, that's about what we're looking at for brightness. We're lit up a little better. Actually not doing too bad. Let's see here. Let me grab the light. And I'll raise it up and tilt it down so you can see the difference. Alright. There's our LED light. It's lit up. You can see it's not blinding the camera totally too bad because of the diffuser. And it's not as high as the other one is. But the other one, like I said, is dim. So I'm going to stand in front of this thing here. I'm going to stand in front of it and you can see the light changes. There's my shadow. So I actually just tip it down. Tip it down. And there's our regular luminescence. And then here's our LED light. So not too bad. But I'm going to take it one step further. Okay. Obviously, the whole idea behind this is to replace this metal halide light. Try to save a few bucks on power, if we can. But for the fairness of comparison, I'm actually going to change that bulb out with a brand new one so we get the full light output on that. and then we'll see again the comparison. Alright, so I put a ring light bulb in there. I had a little problem when we took that cover off, both of the bulb holes. Alright, so we're back messing with this thing. Our middle halide light just ate shit. So that one's done. We're going the rest of the way with the install on this. One thing I can say is, in my particular situation, the light gets mounted right next to this architectural accent here, and so it makes it absolutely impossible to access the two side screws on the opposite side. So unfortunately, to be able to install this to the wall, I had to leave those two in and bend the light away from the bracket so that I can put the bolts in place, the screws in place, bolts, whatever you want to call them. Now this is where having this kind of screwdriver, if you ever wonder what they're for, well, this is what they're for. To get into tight spots, to be able to tighten stuff like that. So both the screws are tightened down, the light is wired in, and that bulb didn't really make a difference on the other light, so just figured out that the light is probably no good, and it was time to get rid of it. And the whole, well, this was to replace it anyways, so I'm going to shove these wires back into that hole there and make sure all that stuff's nice and lit up. I'm going to bend it back. Oh, see, that could be a problem, because now my light's loose. Alright, so I got it together. It's not completely tightened down. It's tightened for the most part, I think, on one screw. The other screw is not going to get any tighter because it's bent out. So Defiant, or whatever company runs Defiant, R&D needs to work a little better on this. I got these two screws back in, and as you can see, the light moves because it can't be tightened down all the way. And you can see my problem here, these two screws. Where's the screwdriver? These two screws can't be gotten to. And I don't want to chip away my aesthetics, so because it's an exterior light anyways, I usually run silicone around them. So I'm pretty sure that'll that'll hold it in place. It won't go anywhere with the silicone. So, and if it's LED, I shouldn't have to change the bulb, so I shouldn't need to open it up. The other light had two screws going straight through the front to the back plate, or from the cover to the back plate, which worked a whole lot better. So maybe they should do something like that. They could do it up here, right here, have two screws go down, or they could have it drop onto a catch lip here and actually extend that out, and either have two screws in the bottom or two screws in the front. So something to think about next time they design one of these things. Alright, and like all things when you're working on electricity, unless you know what you're doing, and even if you know what you're doing, you can make mistakes, turn off the power. I don't have a problem doing things hot, but this is a more complex deal, so and its footprint is a little different on the wall. And for light in the meantime, we've got these halogen work lights, which are absolutely blinding. So you can see right now the yard is lit up by halogen. 600 watts of power there. It's 300 watts each. Halogen lights, and it's actually a little darker than I see here in the camera. Now we're going to turn on the light. Okay, so now the light is on. We're going to shut down the halogens. We're just going to run on that light there, and let's see here. So let's see. Any better? I think a little brighter. Not by much. It is a $40 light, keeping that in mind. They have one that's about $120, and it's $14.75, so it's still not much of a difference. Okay, so install, very difficult if you have trim that you're up next to. Otherwise, not too bad. I had to use different bolts because my box is recessed in the wall more, so I had to go get some really long bolts. We are lit from the corner. The other light wasn't doing that. We are lit up more right there, so the other light wasn't doing that. So I guess all in all, not too bad, at least as far as the light goes. The install was a pain in the ass. And most of us that use, trying to look at things through a camera, use these little screwdrivers, which I recommend are drawers, and probably use them once every 20 years, 10 years or whatever. The old light had, kind of hard to see there, but the old light had silicone around it, so I had to cut that off, and then this one will get re-siliconed. Usually on exterior lights, I run a bead around the light just to seal out any water from rain and whatnot getting inside the wall. So, and that'll solve my looseness problem, because that'll pretty much glue it in place from moving. But if I had to give it a rating, I give it a 3 out of a 5, mainly because of the pain in the ass of installation. So, anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.